Reborn back to the day my good brother was giving out luxury cars to the employees. The first thing I did was immediately change my bank card's payment password, reclaim my position as CEO, and secretly gather evidence of Jibota colluding with my wife, Liu Ruyu, to drug me, to send them to prison, because in my past life, Jibota impersonated me as the company's CEO. Used my money to win people over, seduced my wife, Liu Ruyu, even my only son was his. Later, he even drugged and killed me. He didn't even spare my mother, who wanted to find out the truth. They ran her over with a car, and he inherited my fortune. Embraced my wife, raised their bastard child, and reached the peak of his life. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day I was buying luxury cars from my employees. Jibota was surrounded by employees. Mr. Liu, you're so awesome. Only a conscientious boss like you understands the hardships of us ordinary people. I'm willing to be Mr. Liu's loyal servant forever. Looking at the cars parked at the company entrance, I silently changed my bank card password. Jibota, let's see how you play this time. Mr. Liu is so cool, a car for every employee. That's hundreds of cars. Who else in the world is as generous as our Mr. Liu? I'm willing to be Mr. Liu's loyal servant forever. The employees chattered excitedly. The person in charge of the car company flattered him. Mr. Liu, you've single-handedly boosted my entire year's sales. There was a cacophony of no's around me. What's going on? I looked around in disbelief. The intense pain after the drug took effect seemed to linger in my body. I was still standing there in a daze, and someone behind me shoved me hard to the side. What are you standing around here for, you idiot? Mr. Liu is about to go on stage. You're a security guard. Why aren't you following him? Trying to slack off, the pain in my arm told me that I had actually been reborn. Jibota, who was about to go on stage, heard the commotion and turned to glare at me. Can't even walk properly. What are you doing out here? Afraid people won't know you're a cripple? Just do what you're told. Go back. In my past life, I had just taken over my father's company when I had a serious car accident. My health deteriorated drastically, and my legs were also affected. Jibota then suggested that he attend company meetings on my behalf. I thought having such a good brother willing to help me was a blessing in disguise. I didn't expect that from the moment he met me, he had been plotting to take everything from me. I'll make sure to take care of it, I replied coldly and returned to the office building. Then I silently changed my bank card password. Jibota, our game has begun. The first day I came home after the accident, Jibota knelt at my door, begging me to help him. He said his business had failed and he owed 10 million, and he had offended someone he shouldn't have. He said as long as I was willing to take him in, he would even be a security guard by my side. Jibota was my best friend. How could I not help him? So I helped him pay off his 10 million debt, let him settle down in my house and help me with my affairs. Jibota studied medicine in university. At first, having him help me with my health did make me feel a lot better. Gradually, I felt something was wrong. I used to be full of energy after only 6 hours of sleep, but now I couldn't get out of bed without sleeping for more than 10 hours. My legs, which the doctor said would recover soon, became stiffer and stiffer. Not only that, the servants in the house had to ask Jibota about everything, big or small. My wife also frequented his room. Even my son, who had just learned to speak, called him dad as his first words. So I confronted Jibota in front of everyone. My wife started crying and complained that there were a lot of things to do at home after my accident. She couldn't handle everything with a few-month-old baby. If it weren't for Jibota's help, she would have divorced me and left long ago. Jibota also started avoiding me because of my suspicions. He wouldn't come back for days. They said I was just being overly sensitive because of PTSD. I believed them. To apologize to Jibota, I even agreed to let him attend some company meetings on my behalf. I thought since I had just taken over the company, it did need someone to represent me and stabilize things. And Jibota was the only person my wife and I trusted. No one was more suitable than him. At that time, I thought I was so lucky. The car accident didn't kill me. I had a caring wife, a lovely son, and a good brother who worried about me. Until that time, I accidentally didn't fall asleep according to their plan and caught them in the act. Jibota didn't panic at all. He actually had sex with my wife right in front of me. The next day, he sent me, unconscious, to a mental hospital. I still clearly remember Jibota telling me the truth with that arrogant look on his face before I die. Lu Chuan, you idiot. I was the one who caused your car accident. Your son is mine. Now your wife and your fortune are mine too. He kicked me hard in the stomach. Then he left with my wife, looking smug. Remembering that intense hatred, I couldn't help but clench my fists, but the heaven said eyes. My life wasn't meant to end like that. I sat in my long-lost office, carefully stored the special medicine Jibota gave me. The phone on my desk vibrated non-stop. Lu Chuan, what are you doing? The event is about to start. Change the password back quickly. Lu Chuan, what do you mean? Are you messing with me, you ungrateful bastard? Don't forget I'm doing this for you. Without me, this company is finished. Looking at the barrage of messages from Jibota, I couldn't help but laugh. I paid off his debts, gave him a job. Who's the ungrateful one? I looked through the proposal for buying cars and discovered the problem. What a car for every employee. He had divided the employees into different classes. His lackeys would get Mercedes and BMWs. The other low-level employees wouldn't get anything. Trying to show off, huh? Then spend your own money. Jibota, let's have some fun this time. Do you have any heart medication? Mr. Lu is having chest pains. Jibota's face was pale. He clutched his chest and was helped inside. The woman supporting him, with a worried look on her face, was my wife, Liu Ryu. What are you looking at? Can man help? Standing around like a dead man, she glared at me and yelled, Mr. Lu, are you alright? The employee who had bumped into me earlier came in with a mournful face. Hey, how dare you, a security guard, sit in the CEO's chair? Get out of there. Can't you see Mr. Lu is unwell? After all that Bota has done for you, you're such an ingrate, Liu Ryu muttered indignantly. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed, and scrutinized Jibota. Bota, I'm a security guard. Jibota panicked. He pretended to struggle to his feet and explained, of course not, Sichuan. You'll always be my good brother. Whether your illness can be cured or not, you're my only brother. The employee who had bumped into me earlier suddenly laughed. I knew it. He's a lunatic. If it weren't for Mr. Lu's tolerance, you wouldn't even be allowed inside Lu Corp. Oh really? I'm not allowed in my own company. Jibota looked troubled. He stood up and stepped between us. All right, give me some face. Sichuan, Li Zi is just blunt. Don't take it to heart. He then turned to Li Zi, who wanted to come up and hit me. Li Zi, are you going to disobey me too? He's my brother. I must have been a chivalrous hero in my past life to not be able to hear the demeaning undertones in Jibota's words. Li Zi pointed at me arrogantly. Be careful next time. I'm letting you off the hook today for Mr. Lu's sake. I stood up and bent his finger back to a 90-degree angle. Don't point your finger at me. As I increased the pressure, Li Zi's screams grew louder. Crazy. Someone get him out of here. You're the one who should get out. You're fired. Li Zi scoffed. Fire me? You think you can? I didn't bother arguing with him. I made a phone call to HR. Find out which department Li Zi is in. Settle his wages immediately. Ooh, calling HR. Huh, why don't you call Lu Corp? He didn't finish his sentence, he answered a call. And the smile gradually disappeared from his face. What? I'm fired. Seeing that I seemed to be serious, Jibota hurried over and grabbed me. Sichuan, don't use my phone to make calls. Li Zi is a veteran employee of Lu Corp. We can't just fire him over something so trivial. Why don't you take the card and pay? I'll reprimand him later. Trivial? Insulting me in my own company is trivial? I shook off Jibota's hand, not wanting to get entangled. Compared to the money for the cars, I was more interested in finding out what drug he had given me. Soon, my driver, Old Lee, came to pick me up. Be careful on the road. Actually, I'll take him back. Before Old Lee could finish speaking, Jibota interrupted him. Li Ryu immediately gave Old Lee a look. Uncle Lee, are you blind? Realizing that he had misspoken and offended Jibota, Old Lee quickly apologized to him. I'm sorry, sir. My eyesight hasn't been very good lately. Jibota gave Old Lee some insincere instructions. Sichuan's PTSD seems to be getting worse. I'll take him home myself, I replied coldly. No need. Get out of my house. Jibota asked again in disbelief. Sichuan, what are you saying? I said, get out of my house. Can you understand that? He lowered his head and endured my humiliation. He thought he was hiding it well. That the resentment in his eyes was clear to me, but I didn't care because no matter what tricks he tried to pull, I would crush him this time. Are you crazy? Liu Ryu also asked impatiently, it seems you're deaf too. I glanced at her. You too. My voice wasn't loud, but the employees gossiping at the door were already chattering. Seeing my coldness, Old Lee complained, there are so many people watching. Sichuan, you're being too disrespectful to sir. Have you forgotten how he took care of you? At this moment, I only felt that I had been too kind in the past. which made old Li think he could lecture me too. Very well, another ingrate. Liu Ryu patted Jibota's chest comfortingly. Let's go home. Don't mind him. He must have forgotten to take his medicine. A burst of laughter erupted from outside the door. Hilarious, a lunatic imagining himself as the CEO. Even ordering around someone else's driver. He even told Mr. and Mrs. Liu to get out of their own house. He's going to be sleeping on the streets now, ha ha ha. That's so satisfying. I walked straight up and snatched the car keys. Uncle Li, you too, settle your wages and get out of my house. Since I had changed the VIA's access code, they couldn't get in, so Liu Ryu called my mother to complain. My mother had been living in the countryside. After my father passed away, she hadn't interfered in Liu family matters. Hearing what Liu Ryu said, she hurriedly called me and advised, don't let your arguments escalate. Apologize to Ryu quickly. Apologizing was out of the question. I immediately bought a plane ticket and sent my mother abroad. I wouldn't let her get hurt in any way this time. Strangely, I couldn't find the rest of the special medicine anywhere in the house. It seemed I had to let them try to drug me again. Jibota suddenly called me. Brother, what are you doing? There were so many people at the company today, and we're about to secure the car company order. I had to hide your identity. I did all of this for the company. You know, many clients only recognize my face. In the end, the money still goes into your pocket, right? The power I gave him had gone to his head. Without my name, Lu Chuan, who would recognize his face? But the most important thing now was to get evidence of his crimes. I suppressed my anger and softened my tone. Really? Is my PTSD acting up again? Yes. You definitely didn't take your medicine on time. Ryu will bring it to you later. Don't be so difficult. Ryu has been crying ever since. Go back and coax her. Liu Ryu came back a while later. She changed into a sexy hip-hugging dress and sat on my lap, acting coquettishly. You bastard, after I scolded you, you dared to tell me to get out. If I wasn't worried about your health, I wouldn't have come back. The dress she was wearing, I remembered it was the same one she wore when I caught them in bed in my past life, flaunting herself on Jibota's bed. Take your medicine. I've taken our son back to the Liu family home. I'll focus on taking care of you for now. She pushed the medicine in front of me angrily. She only relaxed after seeing me take the medicine and lay down beside me. After a while, Liu Ryu nudged me gently. Honey, seeing that I didn't react, she took out her phone and sent a voice message to Jibota. Did you buy them? Lu Chuan is completely asleep, a reply came quickly. Why buy those things if we have two? We can just make another one. It's not like that idiot hasn't been a dad before. We're sending him to the mental hospital tomorrow. Why bother using them? You're so naughty. I'm coming over now. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Liu Ryu lifted the covers and left. I suppressed the urge to strangle her and pressed the pause button on the recorder. Liu Ryu. Jibota. I'm looking forward to tomorrow too. Early the next morning, Liu Ryu brought me breakfast with a look of disgust. Honey, eat some breakfast and take your medicine. It was the medicine that made me appear awake but unable to think. It was because of this medicine in my past life that I admitted to having a mental illness, letting them lock me up. Thank you, honey. I swallowed the pill in one gulp. Soon, the doctor they had arranged arrived. Mr. Liu's condition is serious. I think he needs to be hospitalized. Hearing this, Liu Ryu clung to my arm, on the verge of tears. Honey, you have to come back soon. Our son and I will be waiting for you. Honey, do you really have to do this? I asked her with utmost sincerity. Nanny Wang answered first. Sir, you have to go. It's not that madam is being heartless. You chased the young master with a knife the day before yesterday, didn't you? Ridiculous. Another ingrate. Jibota came over and patted my shoulder. Brother, don't worry. Go and get treatment early so you can recover quickly. Leave the family to me. He gave me a hug and whispered in my ear triumphantly. Liu Ryu is really something. All right. Take him away. Make sure to use the best medicine. The Liu family has plenty of money. Liu Ryu waved her hand. And several burly men in white coats entered my house. Just as they were about to inject me with a sedative, another group of medical personnel rushed in. Let's see who dares to touch him today.